expressed on the Powerhouse radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One volunteer full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The one by one hair products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One Viral Hair. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today.
Big up yourself, people. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to the I Am Meta. I'm Zephyr, the Medicure daughter. I also have someone who will be joining me today, one of my goddess sister. Her name is Seshat Ali. She's the Melanated Masses. And you'll see her pop in momentarily. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's topic is, how is my health? When is the last time you asked yourself that and really answered yourself and took it seriously? Where you know where your health is and that you are making steps on either restoring the health or maintaining the health. When is the last time you asked yourself that question and really took it seriously? So we know this weekend, there's a lot of gorging going on. We already know that. I'm not going to talk about the cookouts and the barbecue and anything. Y'all have fun. We all going to have fun, whether we're plant-based or not. Just have some fun this week and be safe out there. At the same time, we need to really manage. My goddess sister is here. This is Seshat Ali, y'all. This is Seshat Ali. She's joining me today, and I'm so happy. One of my very good goddess sisters. We often connect and reason on health. It's always a matter of health, spirit, mind, and body. No matter what it is, it's always the same alliance. We're always connecting on that factor. But as I was saying, ask yourself the question, how is my health? And answer yourself truthfully. If you don't know how you're doing, then get a checkup, get a panel, see where your levels are. When I say levels, we have magnesium, we have calcium, we have iron, we have all kind of chemical entities or in the body that really needs to be balanced. So if it's too high, if it's too low, it signifies something or it's an indicator for something. And we need to pay attention. Let's say phosphorus, for instance. Phosphorus help with the metabolism for the magnesium and the calcium, which is important for a lot of things in the body. But most of the time, you're going to find those in the bones. So when you're coming in low or in a deficit or low in phosphorus, for instance, then definitely you're going to have a challenge with the magnesium and the calcium because you need phosphorus for the metabolism of those two in the blood or in the system. Definitely. So we have to really pay attention to what's going on, all the signs that the bodies are sending us. If you, like, for instance, if you have challenges with kidney, believe it or not, the best consumption for you is a plant-based menu. If you are going to eat things that's not nutritional for the body, your situation or your health condition may worsen, or it's not going to improve if you're not eating the foods to create a healthy environment for these different chemicals and nutrients and minerals to really do what it needs to do. Because I always speak about axes, AXIS. Ax, we have a whole lot in the body. And the phosphorus, the magnesium, and the calcium, they work together, meaning one needs the other, or vice versa. If you're low in magnesium, there's something going on with the metabolism, with the phosphorus intake, for instance. So let's pay attention when you're out here piling up your plate with all the potato and all the beef and the chicken and all these things and the ribs, and then you probably don't even have not one piece of broccoli on there. Okay, so just think about it. If you're not eating balance, your body is going to struggle to get things done. So how is the health? How is your health? And the reason I'm asking about that today is I often get a lot of calls all the time for years discussing health conditions. But then when I look, some individuals are not taking the necessary steps on what they need to restore their health or to have this condition subside in some kind of way. They still keep doing the same thing, complain about the same thing. And if you don't have an open mind to try different things, so if you are a medical doctor person and have to follow your doctor and prescriptions and all that, fine, if that's what you want to do. But if it's going to keep you there for 20 years, then that's not a restoration relationship. It's not a restoration process. You see, and you know what I'm speaking about. Seyshat. This is Seyshat Ali, y'all. Bigger up the melanated masses. You know, I'm going to go ahead and have Seyshat introduce herself real quick to our audience. And thank you all for being here today. I know it's a Sunday. I know it's a bunch of cookouts. So if you're here with us, thank you. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Greetings, family. Can you hear me? Good. Greetings, family. My name is Seyshat Ali. I'm hailing from New Jersey here, and it's always a great building session when I'm able to just sit and build and talk with the Queen Empress Zephyra. And I mean, we can go. I mean, we go for hours. And it's just that divine energy that Zephyr and I always have when we link up and we start building and just talking, just having good old conversation all the time, from day one, actually. And everything happens for a reason. So sometimes things happen and it leads you to a village of individuals, and sometimes for your greater good. And so I'm always grateful for any interaction I have with you, Zephyra.
Yes. And I give thanks. I give thanks for the love. And, you know, I reciprocate, sis. I truly reciprocate. What I would like to ask you, Seyshat Ali.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a quest of a documentary that you wanted to put together regarding health. Let us know why you made up your mind to do that, and what was the motivation behind the health project or the health journey that you embarked on.
Indeed. So in 2017, I had decided to put together this day of wellness event. And that event, my keynote speaker was Queen Afua. Well, in my mind, this is how, okay, first, in my mind, when I was creating the event, the first person that I wanted there and the only person, keynote speaker at that time, I wanted Queen Afua. So I manifested being the alchemist that I am, being this magician, right? This mental magician. And I'm just like, you know what? I started writing down and scribing this event, like creating it from my mind and then scribing on paper. And then naturally it all started coming together. I ended up having this event in 2017. Queen Afua came, graced her presence, did a phenomenal session with everyone. And at the end of that session, she had gifted me with a scholarship to her Wellness Institute. And I did her Rite to Passage program where you go through the 12 gateways
Yeah.
through her Superwoman program. So when I
Yeah.
completed the program, part of that program basically was, create something where, you're healing yourself, you're going to heal your family. This was her motto always. You heal yourself, you heal your family, you heal your community. And then so what my mom was, God rest her soul, she was living at the time. So I was telling her, I said, Ma, I said, I think I'm going to do a documentary. And anytime I have like a bright, it's like the Gemini in me, anytime I have like a great idea, my mom was always so encouraging, right? And she was, oh, that sounds great. Like, I think people need that. And I said, I think I want to have people that have overcame some things and people that's been going through some trauma that passed it or still going through it. And then I wanted to have solution based. So that's where it all started. And then this was 2000 and I want to say 18. Then 2018, my mother got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which led me to Zephyr and Doc Rock Shalom.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah.
Doc Shalom. Then I put the ideal on hold. 2019 came. I started getting moving June of 2019 filming. I came to Atlanta. Right? And I filmed Doc. And then this is the crazy, this is whenever you go through a journey, right? There's always going to be some type of test. I was hustling, right? So I got on a plane. I got on an 8:00 flight, came to the event, Doc interviewed, jumped on an 8 p.m. flight back to New Jersey same day, right?
Yeah.
Hustling that day, right? Gets back, and then I get my footage, and then some way, somehow, when I go to start editing for the preview, like to start promoting it, I lost all of my footage of Doc, right? But if this was 3 years ago, I would have been upset, crying. And then I said, everything happens for a reason. So my wheels started turning. And I said, when you do one documentary, it doesn't stop there. Right. So then my wheels started turning. So now it is in the making of now it's going to be a group of healers that's just going to have their own documentary versus what I already started. So everything can make sense. And it's going to be a series. So my first one will be the footage that I have now. The second one will be a group of healers. Everything is solution based. Everything tells a story. We know we go through this thing called life and it's a story. So the documentary is a solution based healing documentary about healing and wellness. And one thing I know is that we can always sit and tell somebody what they need to do or throw all these things out there to individuals, or we can always show the problem. Someone's story is sad and so on and so forth. But then what's the ending? Like, does it stop there? Do you stay in that place? So the goal is to make sure I provide something for the viewers to where this may be going on, but then this is the work that you do. And then this is how you get to this point. Because we don't get from A to D without going through B and C. Right? So that's like the main scope of this documentary. And that's how it came about.
Yes. And I know you're one. If I come to your house right now, open your cabinet, your pantry, your cupboards, anything, I'm going to see some protocols that I'm very familiar with. I'm sure we both loaded up on some of the same protocols, because anyone out there, once you found something that's real natural, real authentic, that works, Big up, Offset Commit. Big up, big up. Bless up.
Please, Offset.
Yes, that's Offset Commit.
Give thanks,
One of
give
our
thanks,
viewers.
give thanks.
Yes, give thanks. Yes, so oops. I'm losing this thing here. Okay. Let me see if I can. Nope. Okay. Yeah, it had me on that echo thing. I was still trying to get the echo off so I could multitask on the screen, but I'll do it. Yeah. So I know we have a lot of the same protocols and all that. And that's because we ended up in with the same teacher, with the same professor, learning on a very deep level, on a cellular level. Matter of fact, my studies don't stop when the semesters end.
Yeah.
When the semesters end, my studies actually begin, because then I don't have to focus on the class. I don't have to focus on worksheets and this and that and the other. And I can sit and really get it inside and get familiar with the teachings. Mama Acid is your big fan. I love me some Mama Acid. Let me tell you, I mentioned to Lady D the other day, I said, when Mama Acid come on, I get a pen and paper, because you will learn something. Right. She's a master researcher and she's thorough. And she's on Thursday nights, on Reasoning Thursdays on the Powerhouse Radio. Lady D and Mama Acid.
I gotta tune in. I gotta tune in.
Yeah, you gotta get in there and watch it. They're real deep. Right. Real deep. And it's a Reasoning Thursday. So even if you want to call in and touch on what they're talking about, you can do that. If you ever want to be a guest too, anyone out there, if you have something to talk about, depending on the topic, tune in. And if you want to do it ahead of time, send to Powerhouse Radio an email. That is DA Powerhouse Radio @gmail.com. Put a topic in there. And when we're going to touch on that topic, we'll let you know if you want to be a guest to speak on the topic. So I really love that. And Offset Commit, give thanks. I was going to big up Mama Acid, man, because, she just real with our thing. And I love that. I love when it's coming raw and truthful. There's no facade. I spoke about that last week. There's no facade. It's raw. Right. It's raw, and that's what I like. People like the fresh apple. Some people want it processed into applesauce, and they can buy it at the store. Some people like it raw. Do it themselves.
You want the
authentic with it. So yes, Mama Acid, man, they get on here and they do a whole lot of reasoning on Thursdays, and I'm thankful for that. Let's all of you all out here picnicking and gorging. I keep using the word gorging because I see some people play it and it pack up, and I'm wondering if they're even drinking enough water for all of that stuff to be pushed out.
You gotta flush it out.
Tell us what we can do to combat all the stress we're feeling today related to the lack of discussion in Senate and Congress about how the lack of real mental health care is impacting our community. Well, Offset Commit, we may touch on some things of how what we're eating may impact the stress and how people can deal with things. Mental health, we are going to cover that. It's going to be another day's topic. And I thank you for putting that in the hat, because you did it on the show. We're going to make sure that's going to be one that's coming up real soon, maybe even sooner than later. Mental health. I think I mentioned it last week, that mental health. We're going to touch on that. And thank you for bringing that up so people can know how to deal with stresses. It's all a perception. It's all a perception of how you're viewing things. Several people can sit and watch the same news or the same whatever the discussion is, the same Speaker of the House or anything like that. People can sit and watch that. Matter of fact, I'm going to come to the comment here so I can read along with you. I said, yes. So as far as the Senate and the Congress and all that stuff there, some people are not even, can't even go to that. They're trying to pay their mortgage. They're trying to pay their rent. They're trying to take care of their schools. And even if they're not in America, there are some places in this world that don't really have a system that can help them with funds and food and Medicaid and those type of things. So a lot of those children, their parents have to pay for them to go to school. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot. They have to wonder how they're going to find food, especially with the COVID going on. If you think it impacted us in this North America here, because I almost said what I really wanted to say. My peeps know how I pronounce the word. But anyway, I ain't going to do that right now. But in this place they call America, if you see how it's impacting here, just imagine another country that doesn't have the resources to turn to that's having that same COVID impact. Stress is all over. So as far as stress, we're going to talk about how is the health, how to manage stress. Since it's on the topic right now, stress is these are surges in the body when certain things occur. So for instance, right now, if someone has to go to the emergency room, you might get a little stressed, might get a little anxious, might know what's going on. If someone is not able to manage financially and not know if they're going to have a home tomorrow. Yeah, these things somehow will definitely bring about some kind of anxiety and stress. What's important is how you're going to handle it. Because remember, the adrenaline in the body is what pushes out the adrenaline to manage surges of that stress. The adrenal that sits on the kidney is what manages that, how you manage your stress. Meditation. We can't focus on the problem because you're going to stay in that problem. You're going to stay in that mindset. And you're going to stay stressed about it. Focus on a solution. What can you do, or what can you find out? What can you learn? What can you create to improve your situation? If there's a means to do it. How do we eliminate the stress? It's how we're gonna process it. I'm not speaking about in the brain. I'm gonna speak about it, how we process it in our mind.
How we interpret it, how we process
it.
And also, one of the key things, what happens is when individuals stress, is you're moving so fast. Your mind's moving, your heart's racing. The key I find that really, really helps is first being still.
Be still. Yes.
Be still. Because when you're being still gives you the ability to properly process what you're going through, properly interpret what you're going through. And then that way you can allocate things where they need to be, because what happens with the body, like Zephyr was saying, with stress, it starts affecting in your stomach, your adrenal glands, your heart racing. Even sometimes anxiety gets so bad to where you start having respiratory issues, where you feel like you can't breathe.
Hyperventilating.
Yeah. But if you're being still and trying to, because in your mind, you can create your own, I don't want to say hell, but you can create your own level of stress.
Manifests.
You know what I mean? So it's all like, you know how they say heaven and hell sometimes is in your mind sometimes. You know what I mean? You can be good, then you can start feeling bad. But sometimes if you be still and not think of what the actual thing that's causing that stress, but if you start recreating what the issue is on a solution-based level. And sometimes it takes your mind to a different place where it's a more solution-based, where a lot of times when you're having solutions, you're feeling happy, you feel like you're moving, you're getting somewhere, and you're not stagnated in a place where that negative thought initiated. So,
exactly. That's really on point. So Said Kemet, the stress levels that we see out here today I would say only half of it is due to some kind of mental challenge. The other half is just because we or that sector or that group, I kind of put them into a group or category. But the reason I did that is because not everyone knows how to handle situations. They don't know how to handle certain circumstances. They don't know how to process stuff to release it so it doesn't feel like a dagger in your side or in your back. So I think one of the main things we have to do, I believe I mentioned it last week, get into your mind and you meditate. Seshat Ali said, be still. Yep. You can't have the stresses of everything out there to control your life. We have to control it. How can we reprocess that stress into good energy? Great question, Aset Komet. This is what we're speaking about. Being still, that meditation. I always suggest you start off with breathing. I usually start my meditation and I breathe in. I count from 1 to 5. Some people do shorter, some people do longer. But you choose a number and you breathe in through the nostrils and you count your number. Then at that number, you pause. 1, 2, 3. Then you breathe out the same amount of numbers, whether it's 5, 7, or 10. Then you pause. 1, 2, 3. Do that for about 15 minutes, because what should happen when you're just focusing on that breath? You're clearing the mind. Mm-hmm. You're clearing the mind. I've had a few people say, don't matter what I try to do, I just keep thinking. That's because I don't care what's going on outside. As far as I can hear the lawnmower or I can hear the car next door. I can hear these things, but I'm not tuned into it. Mm-hmm. They're in my peripheral hearing. I'm hearing them, but it's not dominating in my mind or in my head. It's not dominating. It's what's dominating is what I choose. Right. We have to have control. And in order to get control, that's how we have to get into ourselves so that we can really connect, so that we're not tossing back and forth when situations happen. We go into this space, our silent place, and we process what's going on and how we're going to handle it and resolve it or eliminate it or eradicate it or whatever the outcome needs to be, whatever your goals are with it. But stress, a lot of things are going to come up daily. And as individuals, we will have to determine how much energy and what kind of energy we're going to put into it. Now, turning stress into, you say good energy. Well, stress is a reaction. It's a surge in the body. It's a reaction to something that you're thinking about. If it's in the mind and you're having negative thoughts about it, it's going to impact. Negative thoughts doesn't have to be anything like derogatory or anything, but a negative is if you're sitting there saying, like some people may say, oh, my car is not working, I can't get to work. Well, someone else will say, my car is not working. Let me see about public transportation. How far is it from my home? Let me see if I can get a carpool going. Something. It means that you're working on a resolution. You're rechanneling that energy to make sure you're going to get something that's going to accommodate your position at that time. Now, I can speak about all kind of stressful situation where all you had to do is breathe and you couldn't say nothing else, but I'm not going to discuss that today. But I can tell you, I know surges of stress and anxiety at a spur of the moment like this. Even if you've ever been in a car wreck and it had an impact, your adrenaline immediately was pushed out because it's responding to the body like, what's going on, especially if someone's hurt. especially
And
if
I
the
think,
person in the accident who's driving is hurt. I know all about that as well.
right. And
So,
if I could
yeah,
just add on to what you're saying in regards of, because a lot of times with mental health, a lot of times it is how we process everything. But one thing is to really know yourself. And even though, say, if an individual does have mental health issues, right? The goal sometimes is to kind of understand what your triggers are. What is it that really takes me to have an episode or take me out
yes,
of my comfort place, or a place where it takes me so long to get back centered and have that mind of clarity where I can uh, make rational decisions and speak rationally, right? And sometimes that's all go in. Sometimes it goes all into how well we get to know ourselves. And even
yes.
if, you know what I mean? Because that's
It's
the
all
beauty of
connected.
knowing thyself. Yeah, it's the beauty, and that's all part of uh, being well, right? That's the real wealth,
Yep.
right? We
Because
become
then you'll
very in
know.
tune with our divine self, because then
Yeah.
you'll know, and then you'll know when to remove yourself from certain situations too. Because a lot of times with mental health issues, it can be something outside of us. It could be stressors. It could be bills. It can be, in the workplace. It could be things that trick things people say to us or insecurities. And then we just switch,
Yep.
a switch comes on. And so sometimes knowing yourself, you know when to disengage in certain conversations, when to engage in certain conversations, when to actually take that invite to be around other energies outside of your own energy. Because you do have to protect. Part of protecting yourself is protecting your mental, protecting your spiritual, protecting your emotions. That's the totality of
Yeah.
of protection. That's universal
Yes.
protection, right?
Yes.
So, I just wanted to add on to
Yeah.
that, kind
And
of
I
knowing
love
yourself
that
helps
because,
you. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's valid. It's valid. You said something very valid. Know thyself. Last week's program, if I have anyone in the audience there that viewed it last week, it was about introspection, atonement, and amendment. I believe I spent the first half of the show speaking on introspection. This is
Right.
what Seshat Ali is mentioning, knowing thyself. That introspection is very much a part. We have to take on our own magic, our own control, our own way of understanding how we are connected universally and interconnected. Then we can work our way out from there. But knowing self was going to help us a whole lot. Said Komet asks, I wonder if we are still dealing with leftover stress from slavery, and is that possible to affect our lives today? Absolutely.
Post-traumatic.
It's called
Post-traumatic.
energetic signatures.
Yeah. And
It's
post-traumatic,
called
yes.
energetic
Definitely.
signatures. And we're just not that everything that you can think of that was an affliction to our ancestors. Yes, all of that comes, it'll reverberate through generations until it's healed.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's healed. So yes, and I wouldn't say leftover stress, it transcended.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be healed because energy permeates all things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's in a body or not. Because
Yeah.
when the body returns to the dust, the energy's still there.
Yeah. It's not created nor is it destroyed.
Not created or destroyed. When I tell
Mm-hmm.
people I feel my granny all the time,
Yeah.
we are so connected that decades when she transitioned, she never left my energy field. And we are so interconnected.
Right.
And I know one thing, after Granny really taught us, well, her and I had a really good relationship, and I used to ask a lot of questions and she would speak on certain levels. But when we're speaking about past energy, sometimes we have that energy in our sensors, our vortexes, all stuck and suppressed there. Sometimes it's unknowing where it's coming from, where it stemmed from. And that's when we really have to do the introspection, because see, there's no one to blame. We can't say, well, I got it from this person, that's why I'm this way. You don't have to be anyway, because all we have to do is recognize the situation or whatever it is, and we're going to offset that. So let me do this. The Powerhouse Radio, I would love for them to do their commercial so that you can know all that we have going on. And we'll be right back with you, my peeps.
All
Sishat
right.
Ali and Zephyr, the Medicare Doctor, we're there.
Peace.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson Firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson Firm can be reached at 470-499-4704. One by One Kia full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The One by One Kia products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebyankaa.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today.
All right, all right. Welcome back, family. Welcome back. Sishat Ali and Zephyr is here today, and we're just asking about health. For each and every one that may be viewing it today or viewing this show at another day or even hear about it, think about it to yourself. Get a journal, get something to write on, and ask yourself that question: how is your health? And be very honest with yourself. Mentally, how are you doing? Physically, how are you doing? Spiritually, how are you doing? Because if one is off, the others are going to be off. You know, the others are going to be off. And if you really want to speak about the spiritual health, then we have to really look at what we're thinking about, our actions, our integrity, character and integrity, our just what we're eating. The cleaner you eat, the higher you can raise your vibration. I don't care who's saying, well, such and such is this body and that body, and they eat whatever. Hey, they can energies can be lifted higher if they weren't. So not to take away from where they are, but it's important that you know the cleaner we eat, the higher our frequencies. The higher frequencies are said Kemet.
Indeed.
That is very important. Thank you very much for telling us that we need to do that in order to get more in touch with ourselves. Absolutely. Introspection is how you're going to do it, because it's a time with just you and you alone, and you're going to get into yourself and look at everything that you do, you say, you feel, you think, write it all down, and then ask yourself, why do I see it this way? Why do I feel this way? Why do I choose to be so and so or do so and so? Just ask yourself why. Why are you around the people that you're around? I can say this, I surround myself with some real gods and goddesses. They're real divine feminines and divine masculines. Some real spiritual warriors. And don't get it twisted, because we can be earth warriors too, cause but we done know this thing done gone to a next level. It's already at a next level. Real quick, let's say, Shad Ali, let's discuss fasting.
Fasting.
Yeah, let's talk about fasting for a moment.
Yes.
And why it's important. And I'm going to add something to that, the scientifics. I'll add it to that. But let's talk about fasting, because people just, when they hear the word fasting, they're just saying, "Oh, you mean I can't eat?" Let them know why it's important.
Right. I think sometimes when we hear words, fasting, detoxing, things of those type of words, that's again going a little bit deeper than what the word is itself and really understanding what that means. So when it comes to detoxing or it comes to fasting, fasting sometimes is not just what we consume in our mouths. Sometimes we need to fast from social media. Sometimes we need to fast from other energies, other people. Sometimes if you have to work, let's be clear, not all the time when you're at work for any individuals that work like 9 to 5. Sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of gel with so many different personalities, especially if it's totally opposite than how you move, right? So a lot of times when you're in that mode of fasting and you feel like you need to fast from certain energies, but you still got to go to work, just remove yourself from certain conversations in the workplace. Set your intentions, whether it's a work day, whether it's a not work day. When you're fasting, it's good to how you set your intentions for that day. I find that when I set my intentions for the day, my day usually go as planned. And sometimes if I had to make a detour in my day, I go back and I revert back to who really has power over me, which is me, right? Power of self, right? So fasting from individuals, sometimes fasting from social media, also fasting from using certain type of words that has like negative connotations and
Energy.
things like that. Yeah, certain words, speaking nothing. And when you're fasting, everything is what you're speaking over yourself, right? Speak positive things. Scribing. I am a scriber. I love to write things down. If I don't write things down, sometimes I will be all over the place. And I find, seriously, even when I'm fasting or when I'm not fasting, I'll write things down. Sometimes I like to write before I lay my head down for the night. And because that helps me center myself when I rise, right?
Yes.
So I kind of set my intentions for the day, but even when I go to bed, I sometimes want to write down to reflect how true I was to self throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
And then again, when it comes to fasting, yeah, sometimes you do have to incorporate some other things that even you're consuming in your mouth, like with your food, right? And maybe you want to do intermittent fasting. Maybe you say, okay, I'm not going to eat until, 1 o'clock. And then that's when I'm going to have my first meal. And that allows you to kind of like have clarity too. Sometimes people be like, oh, I'm going to be hungry. I don't know what I'll do if I don't eat. No, you're not. It's all in your mind.
Yeah.
If you keep telling yourself you're going to be hungry, then by 8:30, you're going to be hungry. But if you tell yourself like, I'm not going to eat until 1 o'clock, I may have some water, I may have some liquids, I may juice, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But fasting is not just what we put in our mouths. It's the totality of how we move about, what we consume in our mind, our spirit, our emotions, and you're gaining clarity on how your emotions are flowing, how you're taking things in, how you could be in your car and riding and see things. But when you're fasting, sometimes you have a different level of clarity where you're processing on such a higher frequency.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah, that's my take on fasting. I always try to tell people, look beyond that word fasting. And
Yep.
fasting is you're your own creator of your fast. No one can really tell you, this is exactly how your fast is supposed to be. Because maybe you may be fasting for a particular reason to get to a certain place. So your fasting may not resemble or mirror someone else
This is
fasting at
fasting.
that
Yeah.
point in time. You may be fasting because, say for instance, you if you're a woman and you may have endometriosis or you got fibroids or something going on, you may be fasting for a certain way to heal yourself
Right.
a certain way. But then maybe if there's a mental health issue and you want to fast because you want to gain more higher levels of frequency and clarity, you may fast a certain way to get to that point too. Yeah. So fasting
Yeah.
should be looked at in a positive light. In
Yeah.
when you think of fasting, think of moving to a better place. Fast.
Yeah. Yes.
Team.
Yeah. 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 Fast.
You know
I
what
love
I'm
that.
saying? Moving to
I
that
love
better
that.
place. Fast.
Yeah. I love
Mhm.
that. And
Right.
fasting, especially if you ever want to do
Yes.
water fasting is great. It increases neurogenesis. And for those of you who do not know what neurogenesis is, it's when the body's the nervous tissues within the body actually has time to develop and grow and produce. It's a time where it can happen during fasting. When your body's not busy digesting foods, it's really working on healing itself.
Right.
Fasting is a valid part of the body healing itself. If you have to even do it once a month, and you can choose your day as well, because you all know I'm not in line with conformity, but you can choose your own day to fast. You don't have to, nobody have to tell you, you have to do it on such and such day because this is what said it and that body said it. You don't have to do any of that. You can choose when you want to fast. You have direct control and communication for what you need to do in your life. If you want to choose a Wednesday to fast, then do it. Think about it like this. Everybody else will be at work. You will have that solo time maybe. But I'm just trying to be funny, y'all. Y'all, I got jokes. Anyway, I'm just going to say fasting is a phenomenal thing. Anything that restructure cells, activities, neurons, nephrons. Nephrons is what we have inside the kidney, by the way, y'all. The neurons, nervous system, brain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you think about having your senses, your right senses, then exercise, eating what you need to eat to improve that. Drinking water is a main thing. A lot of people already know I don't really have a lot of soda and all these type of things around. I make lemonade. I make swank. There's with the orange and the lemon and the lime. I can do that. I can put some maple syrup in there. I can make pineapple drink, ginger drink, sorrel. I call it so real, right? You
Yes.
can make passion fruit, anything you want to
Yes.
make. You can get fresh mango, juice it, put it with some water, a little maple syrup, a little essence or whatever, nice it up, and you got a drink there. We
Right.
bring drink. We used to go in our yard at home, pick things and make drink. You never see Kool-Aid in we house growing up in Guyana. You never see them thing there. Even when I come to America, I didn't know what that was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what it was, and I don't like a lot of colors and stuff because I feel it's, baking at home, we know when we want to turn something green or red or whatever, you put a little color in. So when I see these different colors and stuff, I just say, "Ooh, that's a lot of coloring in there." And then I read the labels. Believe it or not, I've been reading labels from I was a young girl because I was like, "What's in this?" So pay attention to those labels, fam. Pay attention to those labels. See what you're eating. If you don't know the word, if you want to go on your phone and look it up, do it. If you don't feel like it, then you don't have to buy that. But if you buy it, regardless of what it says, even if it's something that may affect you in some kind of way, then you made a choice. It's always a choice. When you see Ali high blood pressure, diabetes, all these things going on, and people still want to eat the way they eat. And don't think when people say, oh, the salt to send up my pressure. No, it's not salt that has raised your pressure. It's the sugar. Check your biochemistry. It's sugar that raises your pressure. And if you use more natural salt, like the Himalayan, the sea salt, and things like that, you wouldn't get the same effect like how you're getting from them lab salt we're buying in the supermarket and Martin and all them things there. Yeah, the salt that really affects us. Anything that's created like that definitely would affect us. So, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, this is so, really so great. You could even add, you can get distilled water and add the things that you need in there and let it be your healing water. We learned this in class. Just whatever it is that you have a deficit in. If you're low in certain, like your B vitamins, put it in the water and drink throughout the day. B vitamins are water soluble. Your vitamin C's are water soluble. These are water soluble things that you can actually put in the water. If it's a fat soluble, then you put it with the fats, like you'll blend it up with maybe coconut milk or coconut oil or whatever. Just make sure it's fat, because some things functions with fat and some things functions with the water. It's more dissolved. And said Kemet, I did want to say, hopefully you can join us. We are going to have a show on meditation. That, if you can be there on that show, because it's really going to help everyone to know how to familiarize themselves with getting in tuned, how to sit in silence, how to meditate, how to tune everything else out, because I can do that real well. Even if I'm not meditating, we just sit in the room, I can tune out. I can be in my own world, no problem. Right? So we are going to touch on that, said Kemet, and we are going to do mental health. And so you have a couple topics here today that we're going to touch on. We're also going to touch on stress and anxiety. We're actually going to have a show on that. So we'll let you know. What we may start doing is just posting a month ahead. So you will see the shows every Sunday that's coming up for that month, and, try to make it if you can. No, I just have a few more minutes to run my mouth here. So what I'm going to ask real quick, just so our audience would know. You see the video. If you're here viewing it, let us know you're here. It's important that we know you're here. It's important we get the like. It's important we get some comments. It's important you share. It's important you subscribe, so we know that you're gaining some information from us, or you're benefiting from this somehow. And that's the whole reason for I Am Mental Health and Wellness, to share information on how to have optimal health, how to maintain, how to restore. And just to give you some insights of things that you can't disregard something and think you're going to still be okay. It just doesn't work that way. And I don't want to say people don't love themselves enough, because I'm not going to judge anyone like that, because I do feel people love themselves. But when you don't know, you just don't know. So anyway, we're getting ready for All About Love at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Pacific Time for the West Coasters, with Lady D, Blossom, and Cool G. And they're going to be on at 7. And we're going to go ahead and roll it off. But give us a like, man. Give us a like. Send an email, something. Let me know. I mean, I get a lot of calls and texts, but I want to see it on YouTube.
Right.
And I've asked all of you to let me have it on YouTube. Say, shout Ali, big up yourself.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, Zephyra. You are definitely a gift. I know the ancestors are definitely smiling. I appreciate you so much. It's always a pleasure. Peace, family. Peace, Lady D.
Yes. And thank you all once again for being here. Hope to see you next Sunday. Peace and love.